8th graders. How you doing? It's Mr. Berardo. We're going to try and finish off with our Holocaust piece, or at least get to a certain spot. I have a couple of different videos I'm going to ask you to watch over the next couple of days. This is going to be the last one you're going to see of me. Then you're going to watch another one that I give you next week, and then we're going to go on to talking about the Cold War and things of that nature. So anyway, when we start to see, that's odd. When we start to see, I don't know why that happened. Usually never happens like that. We're going to see that this was taken at the Holocaust Memorial Museum, or one of them. I don't know if this was the one in Washington D.C. or not, but Jewish prisoners were eventually thrown into boxcars, cattle cars, and they're going to be transported to the camps. That's why if you look back at the pictures of Auschwitz and Treblinka, I think is what the other one I put on there, you will see railroad tracks leading right up to the front gate. They're overcrowded, they're very harsh conditions. The conditions in the camp themselves are just ripe for diseases and pandemics and epidemics and all sorts of nasty stuff that happen to the people. You can see that they're jammed in. When they get to the camps, they are deloused. That means, lice. That means they shave their heads. They try and make it so lice does not go throughout the entire camp, because that's not something that we want to really have. It can spread diseases. It's really bad. Some will go off to the showers where they would be executed. Others would become slave labor. You're going to watch a video tomorrow in the lesson that I put on here as well. It talks about Dr. Joseph Mengele and talks about some medical experiments. Really, really creepy guy. Basically was picking out people who was going to live and who was going to die. Whistling while he worked the whole time, people said. That's kind of bizarre. It's kind of creepy. They get tattooed. You can see the tattoo. They get numbered in order so that the Germans could keep track of them and know who they were. The Germans are very, very good at keeping records. They're very, very good. They're very efficient at it, to the point where even later on, like 90% of the people that went to the camps could find out exactly what happened to certain people. And especially with the experiments, they can go back and find them. There's a lot more. It's not as if they just mass exterminated people and they didn't know who was going to die. They knew who was going and where. They were very good at keeping records. Pictures of this fence. This fence is electrified. You can kind of make it out up here to see that fence was electrified. People will commit suicide. By that, they will get included in the Holocaust numbers. People will run headlong into the fence because they just can't take it anymore. You can see that they are, what they're dressed in. Matter of fact, just recently, the store, The Gap, just got in trouble because they had a camp T-shirt that looked very eerily similar to the clothes that they wore in Auschwitz. Some people don't make it. You're seeing a picture of them, somebody about to be executed. There are mass graves all over the place, especially in the places where the Germans came in and they occupied, especially like Eastern Europe, parts of Russia, parts of Poland, Yugoslavia. I was in my head. Where did they go? I can see it in my head. Can't think of the name of it right now. But along the Baltic region, which is a good area to say, but a lot of them, Romania is one of them, was one of those places where people did it. And like I said, I gave you videos where they're really going to show you different things. This is a picture of a very famous picture of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, where in the ghetto of Warsaw, the Jews started to figure out, wait a second, this isn't right, and they couldn't take it anymore. So they smuggled in, they bartered, they stole ways of getting weapons in, and they tried to lead a resistance against the German occupation. They held out for 11 days with nothing against one of the best militaries in the world at that point. I mean, Germany had gone through most of Europe and taken over most of Europe, but they held out. They knew they weren't going to win, but they went down fighting. And this is one of the very famous pictures of the people surrendering. You can see this is mostly women and children that are walking out. Okay, at the camps, there was just not enough room to bury all the prisoners, so they actually threw them in crematorium. They would be buried. These are the ovens that they would do it. You can actually make out the bones in the different crematorium. We're not talking a small number of people here. We're talking 6 million Jews and 5 million others. I don't know how to say it. Russians, prisoners of war, gypsies, people who just spoke out against the Nazi Party. So this is a bad thing. This is a really horrible, horrible thing. There's stuff of this in the videos that I'm going to show you. At the end of the war, there's going to be, after the Germans surrender and really find out a lot about this stuff that was going on, the Russians liberate Auschwitz toward the end of the war. Americans liberated different camps. We start to see that there's really horrific, horrific things that are being done. And we put the leaders of Germany on trial. Not for starting the war, not for doing all that other stuff, which we definitely have the right to, but it was for their crimes against humanity. We have a place called Nuremberg where Germans had a huge rally with Hitler a long time before, years before this, and we pretty much just go in and put these leaders on trial, the leaders of the Nazis that were left. I'm going to show you a video on that next week. But some of them get jail time. Very few of them get set free. Like 2 or 3 of them get set free. A bunch of them get jail time for over 20 years. And the rest pretty much get executed. But like I said, I'm going to show you a video on that, or you're going to watch a video on that in the next couple of days. We do hold the Japanese accountable as well. Japan is an entirely different story, and we're going to talk about that more in the next chapter. But this is the end. It's hard to do it justice while we're not together because I can't really give you more. I have so much more material that I can show you together, but I can't show you now. But you will see that there is going to be retribution. There is going to be people held accountable. Please check your stuff to make sure you do the feedback that I give you on your questions. Please watch the videos. I will see you. I will give you an assignment after this on Tuesday because we have Monday off. So be safe, and I'll see you soon.